So I figured I'd hop on and do a quick video because it's Wednesday. And yeah, my like work schedule just kind of went and imploded. So I was like, whatever, I'll just catch up on some Bailey Sarian because I've been so behind in the makeup murder Mondays or Monday makeup and murders or whatever the MMM playlist. I've been super behind, but I did want to hop on. I have officially read 30 books for this year already, and obviously, like I said, I think it's March 19th today, if I have the correct date. I don't know. But yeah, I've already read 30 books for the year. So, excuse me. I'm really proud of myself. I set a reading goal of 60 books. And obviously I'm already 50% to my reading goal for the year. So, really cool. I'm excited about that because, not me like being an overachiever, which is so funny because like literally like every year I set my reading goal super low, so that basically at the end of the year I can be like, oh my god, look at me, like my goal was 40 books and I read like 115. Like, I know I'm gonna meet my reading goal. I guess it's just a matter of when. And I feel like we should always have like goals like that, like goals that you know you're going to achieve. So like, I don't know, maybe it's cheating, maybe it's like setting the bar low, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna get into the particulars of it, but like I said, I have read 30 books this year. So, I think for this month of March, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've already read 10 books for the month of March. So I started the month with Love Radio. I'm pretty sure I did a short for that. And then just recently I finished A Victim at Valentine's, or Valentine's, excuse me, because there's no M in Valentine's. I did not realize that, Ellie Alexander, yes, Ellie Alexander, had come out with another installment of the Secret Bookcase mystery series. I think that's the title of the mystery series. Anyway, whatever. I like the series. I'm gonna need this whole subplot with Scarlett to wrap up. Like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. Her very best friend died rather tragically, and in the process of solving a cold case. I understand her motivation. I get that. I understand that. I'm sorry that she lost her best friend, but I just feel like the subplot is dragging. Like she's not really making any type of progress. Like, obviously in this last installment, like there's some more progress, but it's like so small, if that makes sense. Like, it's so minuscule. I did look on Ellie Alexander's website. She is going to release another book for the series, and it'll be like the conclusion, or at least that's what she's saying right now, which I'm hoping they just wrap up the storyline with her friend and we can just move on, because other than this, like, that subplot, the story's fun. Like, it's lighthearted, it's fun, it's nothing super serious. It's not like, oh my gosh, like, like, oh, I can't believe this happened. Like, I mean, obviously, like, it's a mystery, it's a cozy, but it's a very good cozy series. It's just this, like, subplot. It's almost kind of like, instead of having, like, that love triangle aspect, they're like, yeah, let's have an unsolved mystery in the background, which, okay, cool, got it, love that, but it's also dragging. Like, I'm just ready for it to wrap up. I was gonna say, I read Samira Ahmed's This Book Won't Burn. I loved it. I thought it was very timely. It's about a young woman who basically her family life implodes and her mom is all like, let's just move to some small little podunk town and this podunk town is like out here doing book bans and stuff, and it's just like, what? And then obviously it's like fighting the power. I love that for them. I also read The Queen of Ocean Parkway. It was a middle grade novel by Sarvenaz Tash. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name. But it was so cute. It was not what I was expecting. Like, I read the synopsis and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be cute. Everything's going to end like on a little happy note. Like, oh, yay. And then we all danced into the sunset. And I mean, obviously this book did have a happy ending, but it was not the ending that I was expecting. I thought it was very realistic, which I do enjoy, because I do think, not that like we need to like not allow children to like believe in happily ever afters, but like understand that like endings happen. They could be happy, but it could still not be what you anticipated or expected. Like, moving to a new city sucks, like, just in general. But that moving to a new city could open up like a lots of opportunities for you. You'll meet new friends, you'll try new things. So like, even though on the surface moving to a new city might suck, and obviously, you know, like some kids are like, oh, if I just move back home, everything will be great. But it's like, right, but that's not like reality. So I did enjoy that aspect of the book. That is not what that book was about, but that, I mean, neither here nor there. It was about like a little girl, and she basically has like a little podcast, which I thought was adorable. And one of her neighbors goes, because her mom is a super of a apartment building, and one of her neighbors goes missing, and so she's trying to figure out like what happened to her neighbor, and apparently the neighbor has a family curse. And so like I said, it was not what I was anticipating, it was not what I was expecting, but I was very pleasantly surprised. And apparently there is going to be a second book, so obviously I'm gonna read it. Like, I mean, you know, it's cute. It was fun. I think I finished it in a day. I listened to the audiobook, so, and I also listen at like anywhere from like 1.75 to 2 times speed. So that's probably why I finished it super early. But I really enjoyed it. I also read. Okay, so I am not a big vampire person. I like the vampire movies. I read Dracula, loved it, but I never got into Twilight. I didn't read the series. I did watch all the movies, and it was like, oh, okay, like whatever. I really like Vampire Diaries. I did not read the series, but I did watch the show. Oh, child, that was a roller coaster for me, but I liked it. I liked the show, at least. Never saw or read True Blood. I think True Blood's a book. I could be wrong. I absolutely love Interview with a Vampire, the movie. Never read the books. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. So I enjoy that. Like, I like Blade. I like the idea of Morbius. That movie with Jared Leto, I'll let that go. But anyway, so I'm not like a big like vampire reader, or that sounds weird. I'm not a vampire genre reader. I'm not opposed to it. I'll watch it. I'll read them. But that's not what I gravitate towards. But I did read A Cruel Thirst. Baby, when I tell you that book had me hooked, it had me hooked, and it was just like reeling me in, and it would not let me go. I freaking loved it. I listened to the audiobook on Audible. Amazing narration, amazing world building. I absolutely loved it. Like, oh my god, like chef's kiss. This author is a newer author to me. I read A Sinner's Isle that she wrote. Angela Montoya, I believe is her name. I could be just lying about the name, but I feel like that's her name. Could be very wrong. But anyway, I digress. I love Sinner's Isle. And then obviously when I saw like a blurb about A Cruel Thirst, I was like, okay, I'm not into vampires, but I can get behind this because I really like her writing style. I can't wait for her to release another book because it was that good. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love the way she writes. So I want more of her, and I love that. So yay. And honestly, I might be a vampire girly. I was like, oh, Lala, come here, bite me. But yeah, I also read Jay's Gay Agenda. It was Jason June was the author, if I'm not mistaken. That book had me laughing, like absolutely, like obviously I was listening to the audiobook and I listened to it while I'm driving to and from work and to and from my clients and all that. I was cracking up laughing. Like every time I turned on the audiobook, I knew I was going to be laughing. But it did have some more serious elements. It is a young man who he is gay and he lives in a really, really small town. So he's like the only gay person for like, I think he said like 100 miles or something like that. So like he missed out on all those first, as you know, most of us experience in adolescent, because obviously he was gay and everybody else around him is heterosexual. So, and at the beginning of his senior year, his mom and dad and him, they moved to Seattle. And he's like, oh my God, there's so many gay people there. Like, I'm going to have all my first. This is going to be amazing. This is awesome. This is great. And he does have all his first, so I love that for him. But he doesn't always go about it in the greatest of ways, so it is a bit of like a learning experience for him. Like, you know, don't do this because you'll break someone's heart. Don't lie to your best friend because you'll break her heart. You know, things like that. So I thoroughly loved it. It was a very good read. It was funny. I thought it was a very good coming of age story. So I love that. So that's great. I also read A Game Most Foul, which I know I did a short on that, and also The Getaway by Lamar, Giles, and I know I did a short on that as well. So I won't talk about those books, but The Getaway was a 5-star read. A Game Most Foul was a 3-star read for me. I was gonna say, I also read the Cozy Mystery Book Club's book for the month. March's pick was The Bayou Book Thief, and I did read that. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it. It was a 3-star read. I'm not super invested in the story, so I don't think I'll continue the series because I think there might be like 2 other books, but I'm also not like anti-finishing the series, if that makes sense. It's just not high on my priorities list right now, or high on my TBR list. Actually, to be honest, it's not on my TBR list at all. However, if I'm like, oh, okay, well, I want to revisit this series, I'm not opposed to it. Like I said, it wasn't a bad series. It was just like, okay, it's a solid, cozy. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'd listen to it again, or, you know, continue the series. So, you know, I'll take that for what it's worth. I am excited for, I believe we have our Cozy Mystery Book Club next Tuesday, at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I think. And Angela hosts that. So I'll obviously be tuning in, because I really enjoy like that environment. I love the back and forth and the commentary and the co-host that Angela has on that channel. So I'll definitely, obviously, get on and, you know, I'll be in the comments. So that'll be fun. And then the other read that I read, or the other book that I finished this month, was Asiri and the Amaru. And that is by Natalia Hernandez. She wrote the Flowers of Prophecy series, and obviously this book as well. It's a novella. It's cute. You know, it's a little romance. It got a little spicy. But what I love about Natalia is the fact that her world building is so rich. She can get you hooked into a story, and I don't know, I just find it very comforting. This was a really like fun, cozy fantasy read romance. I love the Latinx representation. So it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And then right now I am halfway through Her Radiant Curse, which apparently is a prequel to a duology. Had no clue, but now we know. So far, like I said, I'm 50% through Her Radiant Curse. So far, I'm loving it. I'm very excited. I kind of want to see how it ends before I commit to reading the duology. However, seeing as I'm so invested in this prequel, something tells me I'm going to want to read the duology. So, I don't know why I'm acting like, oh, well, I don't know, blah, 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 like, whatever. You know I'm going to read it, like, because that's me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was going to say, I did want to also read Blair Imani's Read This to Get Smarter. It's about race, class, gender, disability, and more. So I know when I started the year, I was trying to commit to reading at least one physical book a month, one ebook a month, and one nonfiction book a month. Haven't been doing so hot in that regard. I did read an ebook that was Asiri and the Amaru. So technically I read my ebook for the year, or not for the year, excuse me, for the month. I'll be honest, I have not been reading physical books just because I enjoy the ease of audiobooks, but I know I need to physically read and use my eyeballs. So I'll be doing that. And obviously I wanted to read one nonfiction book because I bought a whole bunch of nonfiction books. I don't know why you can't see them, but I have a shelf right behind my camera setup, and I've got all my nonfiction books that I've purchased recently over the past few months. And obviously I haven't been reading them. I bought them and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. This way I can like take notes. And it's easier to take notes with the physical book than obviously an audio book. So I'm hoping I was going to say, this book is like, I'm not going to say it barely has any pages. It has pages, but it's not that long. Let me see. Yeah, it's like 152 pages. So like realistically, I can knock this out fairly quickly. It's only 6 chapters. Obviously this is not like an exhaustive like nonfiction book, but I think it touches on everything, at least like the main points, and gives you like at least a little insight. Like it talks about like ableism, like what is ableism, what is some disability terminology that you might hear, things like that. So I think it's like a more practical knowledge, which I enjoy, and then obviously like some snippets on like the history, how we got to this point, how things have changed, but in a very condensed package, which I enjoy because I feel like unless you're like a researcher or a scholar, I feel like sometimes you just need to give people information in bite-sized nuggets. And if they want to explore more, then obviously you give them the resources, the tools, the supplemental material that they'll need for that type of deep dive. But at least having like, hey, this is what ableism is. These are examples. Do better. You know what I mean? Then that gives them practical knowledge to actually make a difference and make a change in their own life, their community, their environment, things like that. But obviously kind of a chaotic video because I just turned on I just turned on the phone and was like, let's do a video. But I hope everybody is staying safe, staying happy. I hope people are taking care of themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually, if that's your thing. And I just hope that you guys are avoiding burnout, because I definitely know that that's been kind of what's going on with me. I'm heading towards a burnout, and I'm trying to course correct and not run into that wall. But yeah, but I guess that's it for today's video.